Good afternoon and welcome to the Royal Statistical Society Statistical Excellence Awards ceremony. In the last 18 months, statistics have gone from being something that people quietly worked on in a back room to something that was absolutely central to all of our lives. Who would have thought that millions of people would tune in to primetime television to look at graphs and then go away and argue about whether a log scale was the appropriate way to show that bit of information? Although they are still using exponentially to mean growing really fast, so we do still have work to do. The Royal Statistical Society has always been committed to using statistics to show a truthful picture of the world and to be honest about uncertainty, but for a purpose: to give people the power to use that information to make a difference to the world, to improve people's lives or to save lives. And that's never been truer than it has this year, which makes these awards for statistical excellence all the more important. We will be live tweeting the awards, so if you want to go to Twitter, you can follow us at Royal StatSoc, or you can use the hashtag RSS Awards. We'll be presenting 5 awards this afternoon. The Award for Statistical Excellence in Early Career Writing, jointly organised by Significance magazine and the RSS Young Statisticians section. The Award for Statistical Excellence in Trustworthiness, Quality and Value, in partnership with the Office for Statistics Regulation and Civil Service World. The Campion Award for Excellence in Official Statistics, in partnership with the UK Statistics Authority and Civil Service World. The Florence Nightingale Award for Excellence in Healthcare Data Analytics, supported by the Health Foundation. And the Award for Statistical Excellence in Journalism, sponsored by the Economic and Social Research Council. I'll now hand over to Brian Tarrant, editor of Significance magazine, which is probably the best international statistics magazine in the world, to present our first award of the afternoon for Statistical Excellence in Early Career Writing. Brian.
Thank you, Timandra. So this award was created to celebrate those career young statisticians and data scientists who can demonstrate the skills necessary for effective communication and who recognise the importance of explaining data and statistics to non-experts. This year we received award submissions from writers in Canada, India, Mexico, South Africa, the United Kingdom and the United States. Judges very much enjoyed reading all the submissions, and we were really pleased to see a wide diversity of topics. Obviously, COVID-19 featured, but there were articles on life expectancy, global warming, music, healthcare, academic publishing, and data visualization. So after much discussion and debate, judges selected the following 3 finalists: Anna Buchenhorst, a postdoctoral fellow at Harvard and an honorary research associate at the University of Manchester, for the article "Are Professors and Football Stars Just Lucky?" Connor Jackson, a research instructor at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus, for the article "Pietro the Weather Tortoise and the Pursuit of Soggy Bun Prevention." And Nicola Rennie, a PhD student at Lancaster University, for the article "We're Not Getting Any Younger, or Should That Be Older?" And the winner of the 2021 Statistical Excellence Award for Early Career Writing is Connor Jackson, for the article "Pietro the Weather Tortoise and the Pursuit of Soggy Bun Prevention." Now, judges praised Connor's article for its humour and originality. The story begins with an off-the-cuff remark made during a work meeting about how a colleague's pet tortoise can apparently predict when it's about to rain, and then it describes Connor's attempt to investigate this claim. The story is really well structured and told. It walks readers step by step through the statistical investigative process and introduces some basic statistical concepts along the way. But what stood out to judges most was that through the writing, Connor effectively conveys the fun and joy of data, of finding an interesting question, figuring out how to answer it, designing a data collection procedure, and then analysing that data. Connor's enthusiasm for data and statistics came through clearly in the article, and the hope of the judges is that this enthusiasm will inspire anyone who reads the article to want to discover the joy of data for themselves. So congratulations to Connor our 2021 winner. We very much look forward to publishing the story of Pietro the Weather Tortoise in our October issue. Congratulations also to our two finalists, Anna Buchenhorst and Nicola Rennie, and thank you to all those who entered this year's award. Thanks finally to our judges, Mario Cortina Borgia, Carlos Gujales, and Kelly H. Zhao for significance, and Daniela Cuba, Emily Granger, and Ryan Jessup for the RSS Young Statisticians section. Now, let's hear from our winner, Connor Jackson.
It's a true honor to be selected as the recipient of the 2021 Award for Statistical Excellence in Early Career Writing. Thank you to the judging panel and Significance Magazine. When I first heard about this writing competition, I knew that I wanted to write about something that was pandemic adjacent, but not pandemic centered. The past several months have been so tremendously difficult for so many of us that I knew that I wanted to write something that was light and hopefully that could make people laugh. But in addition to making people laugh, I wanted to write something that read as a love letter to our profession, and specifically that read as a love letter to the pursuit of knowledge through data analysis. Obviously, I could not have done this alone. I'd like to thank Melissa, Pietro's owner, for setting up the camera and sending me all the footage. I'd like to thank Mary for her help with developing a statistical analysis plan and for reviewing my work. I'd like to thank Elise for helping me find all of the weather data. And finally, I'd like to thank Pietro for letting me invade his private life for a few months. Outside of this project, I'd like to thank my wife for her continuous support, especially as I finished my master's degree last year. And I also want to thank my mom and my grandmother for their continuous support throughout my entire life. Finally, I'd like to thank my grandfather, who passed away last month before I had the chance to tell him about this project or send him a copy of my first authored paper. I owe a lot to him. He taught me a lot about endurance and perseverance, and I'm tremendously grateful for his endless encouragement. Thank you again for this tremendous honor.
As somebody who regularly writes for Significance myself, it means a lot to see so many really talented early career statisticians writing so well and coming along to take my job. And now on to the second award, which is the Award for Statistical Excellence in Trustworthiness, Quality and Value. And it was one of our judges, in fact, Baroness Honora O'Neill, who made the important distinction between statistics which are trusted and statistics which are trustworthy. And it's the second one to which we should all aspire. This, of course, is especially true now that statistics and data are being used to make important decisions that affect all of us, and the public rightly are more ready than ever to scrutinise those statistics and ask who created them and how and perhaps with what agenda. So I'm now going to hand over to Ed Humpherson, the Director General for Regulation at the Office for Statistics Regulation, to announce the winners. Ed.
I'm delighted to announce the winners of this year's award for Statistical Excellence in Trustworthiness, Quality and Value, which we at the Office for Statistics Regulation present in partnership with the Royal Statistical Society, and we're also grateful to have Civil Service World as our media partner for this award. This is the second year of the award. It was established last year, and it celebrates excellence in the voluntary application of the Code of Practice for Statistics. While the Code of Practice for Statistics apply to the production of official statistics, voluntary application, as the name implies, is where a producer of statistics, either inside or outside government, commits to the code on a voluntary basis when they don't have to, when they have no statutory obligation to, and when they use trustworthiness, quality and value, those pillars of the code, when they use those to drive the provision of information that serves the public good. This all in turn leads to greater public confidence in statistics and data. And as we've seen in the pandemic, that's perhaps as more important than it's ever been. So we think this concept of voluntary application of the code of TQV is incredibly powerful. So on to this year's award. We had a very broad range of organisations entering, and it was really clear that there was a tremendous amount of hard work done in all of those organisations. And as ever, the judges found it impressive and humbling to read about the work that people have been doing. As I said earlier, doing this work on a voluntary basis when they have no statutory obligation to do so. The quality of the applications was such that we wanted to not only select a winner, but also identify a highly commended entry. And I'll start with that highly commended entry. That was for the NHS Test and Trace weekly statistics publication produced by the NHS Test and Trace team and the Department for Health and Social Care Central Statistics team. And what we liked about this was the use of the pillars of the code of trustworthiness, quality, and value to drive continual improvement in these weekly management information outputs that go out into the public domain on something which is under intense public interest and scrutiny. A really great example of the use of the code to drive continuous improvement. And now on to the winner. And I'm delighted to announce that the winner for the 2021 award for statistical excellence in trustworthiness, quality, and value is the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategies work on the greenhouse gas conversion factors for company reporting. Now, in a way, this is very different from some of the other examples. It doesn't deal with a weekly piece of management information or a dashboard or a quarterly output or anything like that. It's a set of conversion factors that help companies and other organizations think through their work and think through how to convert what they do onto a consistent basis as they think about net zero and greenhouse gas emissions. What we really liked as judges about this was the way that the principles of trustworthiness, quality, and value were being taken into this new context, this new, much more analytical context, into this tool which helps companies produce their analysis. And yet these principles, these pillars of trustworthiness, quality, and value was still incredibly powerful and incredibly useful in supporting, in a way, one of the great challenges of our age, this challenge of net zero and carbon reduction. So we were really impressed. It's a tremendous advert for trustworthiness, quality, and value, and a tremendous advert for the work of the team in the department that did the work, and a very, very worthy winner of our second ever award for trustworthiness, quality, and value. So congratulations to them. And I think you're about to hear from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the RSS and the OSR for this award. We're absolutely delighted to receive this level of recognition for our publication. The conversion factors are published annually by the Greenhouse Gas Inventory team in Bayes and allow users to convert activity data, such as miles driven or kilowatt hours of electricity used, into greenhouse gas emissions. Given the increasing national and international focus on reaching net zero, there is an increasing demand for a high-quality resource for estimating emissions that can be used with confidence.
As the factors are not official statistics, being able to voluntarily apply the Statistics Code of Practice has given us a framework to demonstrate the practices we follow when producing the conversion factors and show how they're in line with the trustworthiness, quality, and value pillars set out in the Code of Practice. By applying these principles to our processes, we're ensuring organisations in the UK can more accurately estimate their greenhouse gas emissions and subsequently measure progress towards reducing emissions to net zero.
The voluntary application community of practice gave us an excellent opportunity to find out about the great work other statisticians in and out of government were doing and bring this back to the conversion factors. We are very grateful to the Office for Statistics Regulation for including Bayes in this community from its inception and for creating this space to connect and share best practice.
We are really excited that the Conversion Factors project has been recognised in this way. Ricardo's experts take great pride in implementing robust scientific approaches to the production of the factors. We look forward to continue to support the UK government's commitment to reducing the impacts of climate change and driving forward the net zero agenda ambition. We are so pleased to play our part.
Finally, on behalf of the Conversion Factors team in Bayes, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Irini and her brilliant team at Ricardo, Billy Harris from RAP, and Eleanor Webster, Ross Black and the rest of the Greenhouse Gas Inventory team at Bayes for their invaluable work in producing the factors. We'd also like to thank Olivia Christopherson and Penny Babb for their excellent advice when we were developing the voluntary statement of compliance, and of course to all our steering group members and peer reviewers who take the time to review and improve the factors every year. We really look forward to building on this success and continuing to apply the TQV pillars to strengthen the conversion factors in future.
Look at those faces. How could anybody not trust them? It's in a crisis that you find out what people are really made of. And in this crisis, we've found out that official statisticians are mainly made of resourcefulness, rigour, and a lot of coffee. Many things have been called world leading, but I think one thing the UK can claim to lead the world in is getting the right data to the right people at the right time. So on to the next award. The third award is the Campion Award for Excellence in Official Statistics. I will now hand over to the chair of the organising committee, Dev Verdi, and Sir David Norgrove, who is the chair of the UK Statistics Authority, to announce the winners.
Thank you. Once again, it's an honour and a pleasure to be introducing this year's award, which is presented in partnership with the UK Statistics Authority and Civil Service World. Government statisticians have been playing a huge part during the pandemic to develop a better understanding of COVID-19. And as chair of the award committee, I knew this would be a particularly challenging year to judge, but I didn't think any of us on the committee or the judges expected it to be such a hard decision to make. All the entries were of extremely high quality and really showcased the excellent work that's been done by statisticians across the government statistical service, both in response to the pandemic and in ensuring that the core statistical releases continue to be produced to a high quality. Having said that, we had to make a decision, and there were two entries we felt really went above and beyond. I'm also pleased to say both were nominated by users of statistics rather than the teams themselves, which really demonstrates the impact that they have had. Highly commended for the 2021 Campion Award is the Office for National Statistics Methods and International team for their comparisons of all-cause mortality between European countries and regions, January to June 2020. This release was the first reliable international comparison of mortality produced during the COVID-19 pandemic, allowing us to better understand the experience of the UK in an international context. The judges considered the work to be an outstanding example of how to best compare countries on sound and consistent lines. It highlighted patterns of mortality authoritatively, bringing rigour to the debate on international comparisons. The solid methodology was supported by excellent graphics showing the spread of COVID over time and space. It met a real need for reliable information in a context where it was generally lacking. I'd like to congratulate the team for this excellent piece of work, and I'll now pass over to the chair of the UK Statistics Authority, Sir David Norgrove, to announce the winner.
Well, I'm David Norgrove. I chair the UK Statistics Authority, and I'm delighted to be able to announce the winner of the award for the Campion Award for Excellence in Official Statistics. And I think this year the judges have had a particularly difficult time. There's a very wide range of really outstanding pieces of work. And I think that just shows how important statisticians have been during the pandemic, because the analysis of statistics and the use of statistics in the public media has been bigger, more important, I think, than certainly in my lifetime. And statisticians have risen to the challenge of producing all that work and that analysis in really an outstanding way with tremendous achievements, despite the difficulties of working from home and the challenges of running surveys during a pandemic. I can't announce this with the same pizzazz as the Eurovision Song Contest, because this is deeply serious work that people have been doing. And against that background, what I'd like to announce is that the winner is the COVID-19 deaths by ethnicity, which was produced by the home team here, the Office for National Statistics, Health Analysis and Modelling teams, and the Census and Population Statistics Hub in Methodology. And their work was a profound piece of analysis using data linkage and regression analysis to show that ethnic minorities, even after you've allowed for other characteristics, are at greater risk of dying from COVID. And that had huge effects right across government, and particularly in the health service, in risk analysis and how people from ethnic minorities were handled during the pandemic. And I'd really like to congratulate them on a piece of work which was vitally important to the response to the pandemic. So well done.
I am delighted to accept the Campion Award for Excellence in Official Statistics on behalf of all the teams involved in this analysis of ethnic inequalities in COVID-19 mortality. This project is an example of the power of linking existing data sets to provide urgent, ambitious, and innovative analysis in a time of crisis. In order to provide the policymakers with the evidence and statistics they needed, effective teamwork both within and outside the organization was vital to this work. An effective and inclusive communication strategy was very important to maximizing the impact of our work, which contributed to reducing inequalities and ultimately saving lives. We look forward to continue working with colleagues in the future as we carry on providing statistics to help the UK navigate the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. Thank you very much.
Of course, the Royal Statistical Society has a long history of using statistics in healthcare, going right back to our first female member, Florence Nightingale, after whom the next award is named. Over to Adam Stevenson, Director of Data Analytics at the Health Foundation, to announce the winners of the Florence Nightingale Award for Excellence in Healthcare Data Analytics.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here today to announce the winners of the 2021 Florence Nightingale Award for Excellence in Data Analytics. The experience of the last year has convinced everyone of the critical role data analytics has to play at protecting and improving the health of everybody in our society. And last month, we also saw the publication of the draft Health and Social Care Data Strategy, which makes the case for why data is key for a more efficient, responsive, personalised, and ultimately safer health and care system. But good work only happens when teams come together collaboratively from across the system, from the NHS, social care, academia, and industry, and bring an innovative spirit, a commitment to pursue an ethical approach, and real determination. And that's why it's important for us to recognise the teams and individuals that have transformed health and care data into actionable intelligence, delivering better outcomes for service users. This year, our distinguished judges have pored over the many entries that we've received. These told a collective story of truly magnificent work that has been done across the country. Teams have risen to the urgent challenge of protecting the public's health. As ever, it was a hard choice, but 3 entries in particular stood out. These have demonstrated how harnessing the power of data analytics can improve the way that health and care is delivered to patients. And critically, they've addressed the challenges posed by health inequalities, they've engaged with the public, and they promoted openness and transparency in analytics. For 2021, we have 2 highly commended entries. Our first highly commended entry is Dr. Jasmina Panofsky-Griffiths of the Big Data Institute and Oxford University for her project, The Responsive and Timely Modelling of the COVID-19 Pandemic to Informed and Improved Response. Now, Dr. Jasmina Panofsky-Griffiths' leadership of a cross-institutional, multidisciplinary and international group that used data analytics and modelling to inform the response to the pandemic was an incredibly strong submission for this award. Her modelling work has informed important policy decisions, such as the need for pupils to wear masks when schools reopened in early 2021. And the entry demonstrated excellent engagement with different individuals across the international healthcare field. The judges were impressed with the responsive approach to including new open data sets. Congratulations to Jasmina for this excellent piece of work. Our second highly commended entry is from Bristol, North Somerset and South Gloucestershire for a system-wide approach to improving COVID-19 vaccines uptake. Now, maximising the uptake of the vaccine has been critical. Going into the pandemic, we had a lot to learn about which delivery strategies would be effective at maximising uptake for different groups. And the BNSSG team have gone above and beyond, gaining a better understanding of the groups that were less likely to come forward for that vaccine and what works for them. The data presented in accessible formats to aid better decision making, and it is an outstanding example of analysis as a tool to examine health inequalities. The mass vaccination programme team made a concerted effort to creatively engage with both healthcare practitioners and faith and community leaders to successfully improve vaccine coverage. Congratulations to the team for their fantastic work. And now for our winner. The 2021 Florence Nightingale Award goes to the COVID-19 Population Risk Assessment Team for their COVID-19 population risk assessment powered by QCOVID. Going into the pandemic, we realised, of course, that the virus has very heterogeneous impacts across society. So it was critical to be able to identify those most at risk and get help to them, and to be able to do this rapidly at scale and in ways that minimise the data collection burden for our busy clinicians. Now, this cross-organisational effort produced a predictive model, QCOVID, which combines characteristics from a number of national data sets to estimate an individual's risk of catching and then being hospitalised or dying from COVID-19. These characteristics included the age, ethnicity, gender, and deprivation. Importantly, QCOVID was then applied at scale so that at-risk adults in England could be identified, prioritised for vaccination, and added to the new national shielded patients list, which currently stands at almost 4 million people. The work is a powerful demonstration of the value that high-quality analytics can have at a nationwide scale, and the level of collaboration, the careful navigation of obstacles, and the focus on addressing health inequalities were considered outstanding. A massive congratulations to all of the organisations involved. We'll hear from the winners now.
Good afternoon. I'm Nisha Mehta. I'm a GP, and for the last 18 months, I've been working on our collective response to the COVID-19 pandemic as clinical advisor to the Chief Medical Officer in the Department of Health and Social Care. On behalf of the entire Shielding and Risk Stratification team, I would like to express our thanks and delight at being awarded the 2021 Florence Nightingale Award for Excellence in Healthcare Data Analytics. In March 2020, modelling suggested something critical. If we could identify the group of patients at highest risk of poor COVID outcomes and take them out of the way of the oncoming wave, we could have a positive impact on mortality of up to 35% in that group. Alongside former Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jenny Harries, we worked with patients, the NHS, government departments and academics to build the shielding programme to protect this highest risk group. Epidemiologists and clinical academics worked together to produce QCOVID, a multivariable risk prediction model, which was built by linking multiple databases of electronic patient records to COVID outcomes data. Weighted cumulative risk factors, both clinical and demographic, were included in the model. In parallel, we worked out a way to apply QCOVID nationally to patient records to enable the bulk identification of these patients at highest risk of poor COVID outcomes. NHS Digital built a strategic data platform which was able to apply QCOVID to patient records and flag individuals in the top 2% of absolute or relative risk of death. Together, we delivered the COVID-19 Population Risk Assessment in February of this year. This identified 1.5 million people at highest risk of death from COVID, advised them to shield, and prioritised 800,000 of them for vaccination who had not already had the jab. We delivered this in 9 months to meet the timetable of the vaccination programme. A precision public health intervention of this scale and complexity was only made possible due to the superhuman effort, talent, dedication and persistence of the entire team. We're extraordinarily proud of this achievement and once again would like to express our thanks to the Royal Statistical Society and the Health Foundation for this wonderful award. Thank you.
I feel we should thank Dr. Mehta for not only all the work she's put in with patients and with data, but for then taking a few minutes at the end of a shift to record that video for us on top of everything else that she's done. Considering how contentious and frankly scary some of the numbers in the news have been in the last year or so, there have been plenty of opportunities for the media to really fall down in their tasks of clear and honest communication, comprehensible explanation, and of rigorous but fair questioning of the numbers in the news. And impressively, on the whole, they haven't fallen down. There's been a lot of great rising to the challenge of using numbers wisely, responsibly, and fruitfully in the media. So, to present the Statistical Excellence in Journalism Awards, I will now hand over to Professor Crystal Donnelly, RSS Vice President for External Affairs. Crystal.
Thank you. It's great to be here, albeit virtually. I'm so pleased to be announcing this year's Journalism Awards, and I would like to thank the Economic and Social Research Council for sponsoring these awards. I'm astounded to say that they're now in their 15th year, and this year's winners follow a very esteemed list of past winners. I think it's safe to say the last year has been very news heavy, and journalists have played a crucial role in informing the public of the latest developments with the pandemic. As statisticians, we may often pick faults with how statistics may be reported, but what we look to do with these awards is to celebrate the great strides that have been made in journalists' use of numbers to tell a story. For this year, we have 4 categories: explaining the facts, for stories that take a current story or statistic and enable the public to have greater understanding; investigative journalism, for stories which included previously unpublished statistics; data visualization, for the effective use of visualization techniques; and finally, a new category for this year, 2021, statistical excellence in coronavirus reporting, for individuals or teams who've gone above and beyond in their reporting of the pandemic. I will now hand over to Dr. Catherine Bromley, Deputy Director for Data Strategy and Infrastructure at ESRC, to present the Explaining the Facts category.
Thank you. We're pleased to be sponsoring the awards again this year. It's a pleasure to be announcing the winners in the Explaining the Facts category. The standard of entries was incredibly high, so that made it a very challenging task, but it was incredibly fascinating, and I really enjoyed judging this category. So highly commended are the BBC News visual and data journalism teams for how many coronavirus cases are there in my area. So this online interactive tracker very cleverly presented key statistics at a time when the relevance of statistics and data has never been so acute. So consequently, this article has been a really valuable resource for many throughout the pandemic. We consider that the tool to be an effective example of statistics being explained with integrity while avoiding distortion. So a massive congratulations to all the teams involved. And now on to our winner for the 2021 Statistical Excellence in Journalism Awards in the Explain the Facts category. So the winner is the Financial Times Visual and Data Journalism team for COVID-19, the Global Crisis in Data. This article is a strong example of how statistics and data can tell a story, in this case of how coronavirus spread across the world. The judges were impressed by the new angles it brought to the analysis of the pandemic. So it was beyond just infections and deaths, but also presented data on phenomena such as global travel patterns and the impact on the political divide in the USA. The article also explained the issue of uncertainty in countries' mortality data. So overall, it was considered a really powerful read, which uses statistics in an interesting and accessible way. So a massive congratulations to the team for this excellent piece of work, and I'll hand over to them now.
Wow, thank you so much, RSS. On behalf of the Financial Times and the Visual and Data Journalism team, I'd like to thank the Society for this prestigious award and its acknowledgement of our work during the pandemic. Winning this award in any year is really, really hard. To do it in the middle of a global pandemic where it seems to me that every newsroom in the world has upped its data reporting and analysis game, well, that's just a very particular honour. COVID-19, the global crisis in data, was a truly collective effort from a team that had spent the months before its publication diligently tracking the spread of the virus and the onward impact that it had across the world. For that reason, I'd like to thank not only my colleagues on the project, Steve Bernard, John Byrne-Murdoch, Tom Hannon, Bob Hazlett, Caroline Nevitt, Jane Pong, Andra Rininsland, Martin Staber, Cale Tilford, Alexandra Wisniewska and Claire Manibog, but all of our other colleagues on the visual and data journalism team whose own work allowed us to focus on this project. I'd also like to thank Janine Gibson and the editor Rula Khalaf for their support of our team, which has really allowed us to make data journalism a core part of the FT's editorial content. Thank you very, very much.
And now on to our other three categories. In our investigative journalism category, highly commended for 2021 is the BBC Reality Check team for US Elections 2020, the dead voters in Michigan who are still alive. This piece looked into the data behind claims by Donald Trump supporters that thousands of votes were cast in the US election using the names of people who had died, and found it was not all that it seemed. One judge commented, "It is a great piece of detective work." The panel were impressed with the efforts made to look into the issue. Interviews with voters added color to the piece, as did the explanation of the birthday problem. Congratulations to all the team for this great piece of work. Now on to our winner in this category, who is Mariam Ahmed for the piece, UK Passport Photo Checker Shows Bias Against Dark-Skinned Women. This investigation, looking into bias with the Home Office Passport Photo Checker, found that women with the darkest skin were 4 times more likely to have their passport photos rejected than women with the lightest skin. The panel of judges were impressed by the raw data generated for this piece to highlight the important issue of bias in artificial intelligence. The article is accessible and engaging, and the judges were impressed at how complex issues around AI bias were explained succinctly while providing relevant information on methodology. A massive congratulations to Mariam.
Thank you so much from me and the whole BBC Data team for this award. This was our team's very first story on algorithmic bias, and I think I feel very, very lucky to be part of a team full of so many smart and really creative people where slightly unusual story ideas like this are very much encouraged. I'm especially grateful to John Walton, our data editor, Robert Cuff, the head of statistics, and Leah Keelian, the tech editor, for supporting the project right from the start. And thank you also to Chris Jevons and Ben Butcher on our team who double-checked my results. We are very big on checking and transparency in our team, so I also want to thank Kirsty Whitaker and David Leslie at the Alan Turing Institute for reviewing my code, very patiently and kindly triple-checking my results, and for lending their expertise to the piece. A massive thanks also to Deb Raji, Timnit Gebru and Joy Bolamwini for their pioneering work on bias in facial recognition and for inspiring the methods behind this story. So thank you again so much to all of the judges and everyone at the RSS.
And now on to our third category, data visualization. Highly commended is James Tozer and Martin Gonzalez for The Economist's interactive tracker for COVID-19 excess mortality. This article uses graphics to explain why deaths caused by the pandemic across the globe may be higher than official government figures suggest, due to issues with testing, delays with death certificates, and a lack of data on deaths caused indirectly. By using excess deaths as a measure to capture those that might be missing, Martin and James give a comprehensive view on death rates. The panel liked the regional breakdowns provided, along with the full data and underlying code that was made publicly available. Congratulations to James and Martin. And now for our winners in the data visualization category, who are Becky Dale, Nasa Stalianu, Alison Benjamin at the BBC, and the wider BBC team for What Will Climate Change Look Like Near Me? This interactive tool gives information based on your postcode on what climate change will look like in your local area, including what temperature it might climb to and how rainy it might be. The panel admired the level of interactivity and the clear explanation of the methodology. The presentation was considered visually appealing, and the piece overall was done in an engaging way that would enable greater public understanding. A massive congratulations to the team for this fantastic piece of work.
This project was the result of a wonderful collaboration between the BBC's data journalism team, the Met Office, and BBC Panorama. It bridged teams with multiple skills and disciplines, including designers, developers, data journalists, and data scientists. Climate change is, of course, an important issue, but the data that underpins its reporting can be extremely complicated and alienating. Most climate change reporting focuses on global averages, making the impacts difficult to appreciate to an individual in a local context. Our ambition was to create a personalized, data-driven tool that would allow people to see, in detail, how different levels of global warming could affect their respective corners of the globe. It became a project like no other we had ever worked on in terms of scale and complexity. We worked hand in hand with the Met Office scientists, using their most recent datasets and leaning on their expertise to ensure appropriate analysis. We looked at temperature and rainfall data at recent levels, as well as at 2 future projected levels, moderate and high emission scenarios. Climate data, however, does not come in ready formats for precise geographical analysis. Our results produced a map of 12-kilometre grids that covered the entire UK landmass. We then translated these results to each of the UK's 2 million active postcodes, which allows anybody to access the most relevant data to their local area simply by typing in their postcode. Our incredible designers and developers built a highly performant, accessible tool and incorporated animations that brought the data to life on both the BBC website and app. We would like to thank the RSS for this award, and we would also like to acknowledge every person who played a part in the production of the visual story. Thank you so much.
And now on to our final category, and a new one for this year, statistical excellence in coronavirus reporting. This category was particularly hard to judge, and we have 2 runners-up. First, highly commended is science editor at the Times, Tom Whipple. The judging panel admired Tom's ability to explain complex statistical issues in a highly accessible way, as well as his skill in debunking falsehoods and challenging policies. Tom's work also effectively shed light on the ways in which numbers and statistics can be abused by those in power. The panel found the work to be a good example of creative and engaging storytelling and excellent communication of the uncertainties in science. Congratulations to Tom. Also commended is John Byrne Murdoch, senior data visualization journalist at the Financial Times. John has worked tirelessly in leading the Financial Times coverage of the pandemic. The panel found his infographics and analysis to be of very high quality, which has made him a go-to source for the latest on the pandemic. John has shown a real commitment to increasing public understanding, and his engaging way of presenting and explaining complex data sets has been a truly valuable resource. Congratulations to John. And now on to our final winner of the 2021 Journalism Awards. The winner in the Statistical Excellence in Coronavirus category is the Radio 4 More or Less team. The judging panel praised their work at a time when explaining the numbers behind the pandemic has never been so valuable. The team was among the first to report that the government's 100,000 tests a day achievement was based on tests posted out rather than those completed. Furthermore, they reported how saliva and nasal samples taken from the same patient were counted as 2 separate tests, explaining the large difference between the numbers of people tested and the tests conducted. The rigorous look into coronavirus statistics has been a valuable resource, and the panel noted the influence the program has had on media discourse and policymaking. The judges were also impressed with the speed at which the team responded to the fast evolving crisis and epidemic. A massive congratulations to More or Less, who we'll hear from now, and then I will hand over to Chief Executive of the Royal Statistical Society, Stian Westlake.
Hi, I'm Tim Harford.
And I'm Kate Lamble.
And we are here on the set of the More or Less movie.
You think he's joking, we're not.
It has been quite a year, hasn't it?
It has been.
And we're so grateful to the Royal Statistical Society and so pleased that we've been awarded the Statistical Excellence Award for Best Coronavirus Reporting, because there's been some stiff competition.
Yeah, there's been some incredible work out there.
Yeah, so we're so delighted, we're so pleased. So from Kate and from me and from the entire More or Less team, this is not just us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is my first Statistical Excellence Awards ceremony as Chief Executive, and I am thrilled that we've all been able to come together, albeit virtually, to recognise the fantastic work that's been done with statistics and by statisticians over the past year. I'm sad not to be able to meet you all in person at the social reception that we would normally have after the event, but I think it's really tremendous what these awards show about the breadth of the discipline and the incredible impact that good statistics can have. I want to say a massive congratulations to all our winners today. I would also like to thank our sponsors and partners for the awards: Significance Magazine, the Young Statistician Section, the Office for Statistics Regulation, Civil Service World, the UK Statistics Authority, the Health Foundation, and the Economic and Social Research Council, without whom these awards would simply not be able to happen. And although there are too many names to mention here, I'm also deeply grateful to our fellows and others who've given up a lot of their own time to help with judging and with organising these awards. And finally, thanks to you all for attending, and I hope to see you next year in person.
So thank you for joining us for the Royal Statistical Society Statistical Excellence Awards, sort of live from our fantastic headquarters in the centre of London, next to a building site. Sorry about that. If you want to know more information about any of the award winners, do go to our website, rss.org.uk. And if you're not already a member of the Royal Statistical Society, why not? Join us at once at the website. Details here or somewhere on this screen. Anyway, thank you. Have a great afternoon. Goodbye.